The who, what, where, when, why, if we're talking about because clauses, and how game is a way for us to put ourselves in our audience's shoes and try and figure out if they might have any questions about our claims. Not every claim needs who, what, where, when, and how clear, but every because clause needs why to be clear. And so to test your own claim, you just, this is what I do. I just write down who, what, where, when, why, how, because I'll include my reason here too. And then I'll ask myself, is this something that needs to be clarified in the claim? That's the key. For this to make sense to my audience, does this need to be clarified? So let's go through that with this claim. So with the original version of this claim, which is minimum wage should not be raised in the United States. Okay, so I have to ask myself, will my audience be able to figure out who will be doing this policy? Well, it is implied. So if we're answering the where question by saying the United States, the implication is that we're talking about the federal minimum wage, and the implication is that the federal government is who would do this policy. So that's implied. Could the speaker actually write that? They could, but you can see below, I wrote claim version number 3, and I wrote that into it. And claim version number 3 now reads, the federal government should not raise the federal minimum. Oh, wait, let me say this again. The federal government should not raise the federal minimum wage in the United States. Do you see how clunky that is? How hard that was to get out? So even though I'm trying to be clear, now all of a sudden I'm not being concise, which is leading to a lack of clarity. So by identifying the United States, it's implied that it's the federal minimum wage. I guess I could clarify that. But yeah, we don't want to make things more confusing by over clarifying. So answering the where question, the United States implies we're talking about the federal minimum wage, implies that we're talking about the federal government doing this. The what question, the minimum wage, which again, federal minimum wage is implied because we're talking about the United States, not a specific state. I mentioned already we answered the where question in the US. That was very important because if the where question wasn't answered, then the who is not implied and the what is not implied. When you mentioned uh, about is the how something that should come in grounds and backing, when will probably come in grounds. And how is actually not relevant in this case because this proposal is proposing inaction, is proposing not doing something, is proposing sticking with the status quo. And you may be thinking, wait, claims don't usually propose the status quo. This claim only works if it is in opposition to a change to the status quo. And so that's why when I put in the explanation that it might be in response to a specific proposed policy, that's the only reason that you would do this specific topic. Or else you're just proposing the status quo, which is already the status quo. So it would need to be in response to a proposed change to the status quo. And so that's it. So that's how you play the who, what, where, when, how game. And then, of course, why is a reason. So that's not related to the claim, but it's related to the reason instead. So just like to sum this all up, sometimes elements of the who, what, where, when, how game are implied. Sometimes they aren't relevant to the specific claim that you related. All that matters is that you're asking yourself, is there any part of this claim that my audience is going to need clarification about? And that's what the game will help you do. Great question.